Briana Aldridge joined by Clarence Hill from All City Dallas to talk about the Cowboys versus the Houston Texans. Now, before we get into the matchup, it is known Cooper Rush is going to be leading this team under center once again. But let's talk about some of his offensive weapons. He's going to have a new one possibly in Jonathan Mingo making his debut.
Yeah, Jonathan Mingo told me on Wednesday that he was good to go. The Cowboys certainly traded for him from the Carolina Panthers last week for a fourth-round pick. You know, he wasn't up to speed enough to play against the Eagles, but he has the offense down pat enough that he's good to go. Certainly Mike McCarthy confirmed it. He said that Mingo was everything we thought he was, okay, in practice so far. He can play inside, he can play outside, and he gives a little juice in the vertical passing game. We'll see how much juice they have with Cooper Rush, the quarterback, who doesn't throw the ball down the field. You know, but we'll see, certainly. But he's good to go and ready to go for the Texans.
Realistically, how involved do you think that they'll actually be able to get Mingo in? He's only been here, this is his second week, and he's learning plays?
Well, that's just it. I mean, you go back to last week and look at CD, you know, and it's really about the quarterback and the type of offense they're going to run with the quarterback. You know, you could have all the plans. You could have Jerry Rice out there. If Cooper ain't going to throw the ball down the field, they're going to be throwing the ball at the line of scrimmage, doing screens, then how much impact can they have? And so he needs to be protected, and so he can have opportunity to get the ball down the field. But, yeah, it looks like they want to try to get Mingo involved. They traded for him, so you have CD. Jalen Tolbert has not really made an impact. Jalen Brooks certainly has not made an impact. You know, they've tried some things with Kevontae Turpin. Now let's see what Mingo has.
This seems like a good game where Rico Dowdle getting involved will be pretty helpful for a team that's struggling to get the ball downfield. Now, McCarthy today said he was really impressed with what Dowdle was able to do in that first half. This seems like the second week in a row that Dowdle has gotten the ball hot, and then they just stopped going to him. Like, what are you seeing these last couple of weeks with that?
Well, certainly last week the game got away from them. You know, you look at that game, and it was 14-6 at halftime, third quarter, and it was 28-6. And, you know, Dowdle had 10 carries for 50 yards. I talked to him yesterday, and he said, I just knew this was going to be my first 100-yard game. You know, because he had it going, and the Cowboys haven't had a 100-yard rusher in a very long time. He just knew it was going to be my first 100-yard game. He had 2 carries in the second half for 3 yards. They were both in the third quarter. The game was 28-6. It was over. They put Zeke in there, and they just kind of lost their way. But what's also true now is that if you look at the last couple of weeks, Dowdle is the featured back. There's no more rotation. There's no more rotation by series. There's no more, we're going to have a running back by committee. It's Dowdle's ball. You know, he is the primary running back. And he said he will not come out unless he taps out and is tired, you know. And so he decides when he comes out the game. And so it's going to be all Dowdle. It's not Big Zeke. It's not about Dalvin Cook. It's about Rico. And Rico's been their best back.
And McCarthy said it's all about, you know, he didn't get enough opportunities.
Right.
We've heard that all season. You keep saying it starts with the offensive line. They are a little bit banged up, but it seems like there's some positivity, according to McCarthy, about at least Tyler Smith. I think that's the biggest one. We saw his leg pretty wrapped up yesterday, but he was out there practicing today.
Yeah, Tyler Smith has been their best offensive lineman. He's still one of the best offensive linemen in the league. He was all-pro last year. He's looked like he's on his way to certainly a Pro Bowl type, all-pro type season this year if the muck of the Cowboys don't hold him back. But they need him. He's been their most consistent, best player. He missed practice yesterday with the heavy knee wrap. He was back out there today. He did practice. His knee was wrapped, but he should be good to go and ready to play. Tyler Guyton is back in practice after missing last week at left tackle, because of the neck strain. He says he's ready to go, but Austin Bridges played a pretty good game. You got Chuma Doga, who's going to play for the first time since available to the play, for the first time since training camp, It's a question, who's going to be the best guy? Certainly you don't want to have the rookie lose his confidence, but you want to have the best guy on the field. And I think that's a question going into Monday night.
I feel like there's a lot of questions with this offense because I think the defense might have surprised a lot of people what they did last week. They really let the Cowboys have a chance in this game, especially that first half. Like, looking at the score, if you don't look at the second half, this looked like it was probably a pretty good game, but the defense just could not keep it going throughout the entire 4 quarters.
That's why they talk about complimentary football. When your defense is playing that well, the offense needs to reward them. You need to do something. You get turnovers, you get sacked, you get the offense off the field. Certainly they got the Eagles off the field to start the game. They got them off the field to start the third quarter. DeMarvin Overshawn had a great first half. Michael Parsons had a great first half. nothing to show for it. And so they couldn't hold up in the end. You know, the inevitable was going to happen. But that's when you talk about complimentary football, you need to reward your defense. When you get turnovers, when they stop the other team, you need to reward them, get them out the field because they're tired. They get worn down, been on the field so long. So, number one, if the Cowboys have any chance against the Texans, it's going to be because of Micah and DeMarvion making plays and getting turnovers. They need to create turnovers, to give the offense a chance. But it starts with the defense. There is some excitement about Overshaw, and that he was injured in that game, but he's going to play. He's good to go, and just to see him. When you want something to look at for the start of the season, what a lost season for the rest of the season, watch Overshaw. Watch he and Micah. That's something you can feel good about. You can build on for the future.
Now we're talking about the offense, Cooper Rush. Do you think last week's performance, it seemed uncharacteristic for him? That's what everyone is saying. But do you think that has messed with his confidence at all going into this game?
I don't think so. I don't think Cooper was as bad as he was last week against the Eagles, I don't think he was as good as he was when he was 5-1 a couple of years ago, okay? It's somewhere in the middle. But Cooper Rush is a quarterback that needs things around him to be successful, and things weren't successful around him, and he didn't play well last week against the Eagles. He can play better. The 5 turnovers, you have no chance. And they gave themselves no chance on offense without all those turnovers. But you need a running game. You need protection. You need the receivers to make plays. You need the defense to hold them down. You go back to a couple of years ago, he didn't throw for a lot of yards, but they were very opportunistic on defense. They ran the ball well. The environment around him allowed him to be successful, and those are the things you need for him to be successful. Yes, that early fumble last week, he got hurt. And I think that affected his throwing and affected his ability. I don't think it was about his confidence. I think he was injured in that game, and they talked about it afterwards. So he should be better, ready to go, but don't be surprised if they have packages for Trey Lance. I talked to Trey Lance. He said that going back to San Francisco, his rookie year, there were packages of plays they put in, whether it was near the goal line, short yard, a different series where he comes in and uses his legs. I think the Cowboys plan to use packages for Trey Lance this week.
It's going to be very interesting what this Cowboys team does, and hopefully they come up with something, because not only are they on this losing streak, but they haven't got a touchdown at home in a while. So
it's going to be tough against the Texans defense. Now, understand this, people. The Texans are going to come here like the Detroit Lions, motivated to show the world something against the Cowboys. They're going to be motivated to show the world they're the best team in Texas, and and pump up their brand. It will be a Houston Texans takeover. I know a lot of people are coming in from Houston for that game, so it's going to be ugly. It could get ugly. It could get ugly. I say it won't get ugly. It's not going to be. It could get ugly if the Cowboys don't really show up.
It could get ugly, but we're gonna stay positive here at the start, because that's what we're gonna do this week. That's it for now. For Briana, Aldridge, for Clarence Hill.